Schumer meltdown. Chuck Schumer slams Trump for what he did with North Korean prisoners. Never one to go down without a fight, even when there is nothing whatsoever to fight about. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer bizarrely attacked the Trump administration over the successful release of 3 American prisoners held by North Korea, suggesting the hostages were being used as bargaining chips. Schumer offered his scathing critique from the Senate floor on Wednesday just scant hours after newly confirmed Secretary of State Mike Pompeo left the Korean peninsula with the 3 prisoners by his side. Seems easy for Schumer to say as he rests easily in his bed on American soil every night in the comforts of his own home and not in a dank 5x6 cell, tortured, wondering if he will ever see his family again. Yet Schumer persists in his scathing superiority, glowering imperiously from the Senate floor to families that have feared for the lives of their loved ones. No regime has the right to hold American citizens in captivity without cause, and under no circumstances should American citizens be viewed as bargaining chips. If countries in the world think they can detain Americans and get something in return, we'll see many more hostages. Schumer went on to add sanctimoniously that he was rooting for the Trump administration's upcoming negotiations with the communist regime, but added that hostages shouldn't be a part of it. Apparently, they should have simply been left behind? Or what would he have proposed the alternative have been exactly? According to reports from The Hill, Trump announced on Twitter on Wednesday morning that Kim Dong-chul, Tony Kim and Kim Hak-song, 3 American citizens who were imprisoned on charges of espionage or other anti-state activities against North Korea, were traveling back to the U.S. with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. I am pleased to inform you that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in the air and on his way back from North Korea with the 3 wonderful gentlemen that everyone is looking so forward to meeting. They seem to be in good health. Also, good meeting with Kim Jong-un. Date and place set, the president said in a tweet. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said separately in a statement that Trump views the detainee release as a positive gesture of goodwill ahead of the planned summit with North Korea, which is expected to take place this month or next. But what exactly does Schumer believe we should leave Americans behind to face in countries like North Korea while he sleeps comfortably in his bed? There is no doubt that North Korea treats its prisoners harshly. When outsiders are arrested, they are often sentenced to hard labor, and that is exactly what it is, compounded by the severe oppression of isolation and helplessness. Some have described their experience in detail. In December 2012, North Korea charged missionary Kenneth Bae with acts hostile to the republic. Bae had visited the country many times in the past, but on this occasion, he was stopped for reasons unknown and a hard drive containing Christian materials was discovered. For this crime, he was sentenced to 15 years hard labor, and only released when his health deteriorated seriously, just as seems to have happened in the case of Otto Warmbier. After his release, Bae detailed his experience in a memoir entitled, Not Forgotten, The True Story of My Imprisonment in North Korea, where he speaks of how he was interrogated from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2200 hours or 2300 hours at night every day for the first 4 weeks of his imprisonment. Under this pressure, he wrote the hundreds of pages of confessions for his imagined crimes his interrogators demanded. Bae spoke of working 6 days a week on a farm, carrying rock and shoveling coal, where his daily routine was to wake at 6 o'clock. Eat breakfast, pray, and then be taken to perform the hard labor from 8 o'clock until 1800 hours. He lost an estimated 60 pounds in the 735 days of his captivity as a result. As his weight continued to drop, his health increasingly failed and he was repeatedly taken for medical treatment. Apart from the physical toll, there was a psychological pain, a feeling of isolation. Bae spoke of one interrogator telling him continuously, "No one remembers you. You have been forgotten by people, your government. You're not going home anytime soon. You'll be here for 15 years. You'll be 60 before you go home." He describes feeling like an insect, tangled in a spider web. He stated, "Every time I moved it got messier, with no way out." He does say that, later on, after the month of interrogation was over, He was allowed to see emails and messages from people back home, though he describes this was as much a comfort as it was a torment, as there was nothing he could do and he was unable to respond. He was allowed to have a Bible through the experience, however. When he became seriously ill, it looks as though the North Korean authorities became concerned that he might die, with all the diplomatic difficulty that would cause. And so they arranged his release, as it appears might have happened in the case of Otto Warmbier. Yet Schumer seems to think this existence is preferable to that of coming home.